Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Historical Gamer. Looking at a game called Swashbucklers. It's a nautical-based game where you're a captain of a blockade runner, pirate, privateer, whatever you want to call yourself, during the American Civil War. In it, you can play more pro-Union, you can play more Confederate, but really you're on your own side. Um, Basically, the role puts you into the Caribbean during the American Civil War when the American or Federal or Union, however you want to classify them, Navy was blockading southern ports. And it's a lot like Port Royal or Pirates. I would say it's closer to the Pirates series, where you sail around the Caribbean, completing various missions, trading with various towns, and fighting ships. It's kind of a Age of Pirates game that moved into the 19th century, which is pretty interesting because there was a lot of privateer activity. There was a lot of smuggling and blockade running that occurred during the Civil War. So it's kind of a natural fit for a lot of those previous games which took place in the age of piracy. It's a more modern look at it. This is really going to be a pretty short review. It's a pretty basic game. It's very arcade-like, but for the price that it's currently selling at, that is definitely, not a bad thing. It's a fun game that's going to use a lot of time and eat up, a fair amount of, like I said, eat up a fair amount of time for you if it's something that, interests you. Right now, just like I said, the price, it's only about $10. I picked it up when it was on sale for about $2 on Gamersgate. So they'll run some sales every now and then, but it's called Swashbucklers Blue versus Gray. Like I said, it's very similar to Pirates, which I will be reviewing. This is going to be the first of a series of videos which is going to focus more on nautical war or history games. Might throw a few other ones in there, but this is going to be the first of a nautical-based game series of games. I've got a video coming up on thewargamer.com very shortly that's looking at the newest version of that genre, Port Royal 3, Calypso's first effort at the Port Royal franchise. But Swashbucklers reminds me more of Sid Meier's Pirates. It kind of plays a third-person role where you're, like I said, you're a captain of a ship in the Caribbean, and you sail around and accomplish various tasks. I would say it's a very basic game. There's not a whole lot of a story. You don't even really get dates and times. That's one criticism I would have, is it'd be nice to know where you are in the war. It'd be nice for things on the map to change, as New Orleans falls or all the other cities start to fall. It would certainly make the game a lot more difficult. It could add a nice little unique campaign aspect, but the game really doesn't have that. It essentially takes the sort of 1861 approach before any cities fall, and as much as I played, I could never find a way for any of those ports to change hands. So as far as that's concerned, it's something that is basically a snapshot in time, as far as that's concerned. That being said, it's still a lot of fun. Essentially, as I already said, you sail around the Caribbean. You go from Spanish colonies in the Spanish Main to British colonies in Bahamas. There's a French colony in there in Nassau. You can also go to the United States. Now, every time you go to every single port, you've got to run a blockade, which involves combat. So you basically have to beat a warship every time you want to go into an American port. The nice thing about that is they're going to pay top dollar for a lot of goods. So you might pick up rifles or coal or medical supplies or ammunition or steel or iron, and then sail into American ports and sell them at a higher price. So it's kind of got an element of blockade running that definitely makes it unique. You also have, steamships, which is not something that any of these other really type of games have. So that's another unique element to it, in that, you're not entirely dependent on wind, and it kind of plays in the combat aspect of things. It is a bit more arcadey. You can kind of upgrade your ships in a way that feels more like an arcade game, but it's a lot of fun. You can throw a Gatling gun in your ship. You can throw heavy cannons in your ship. You've just got regular smoothbore cannons on your ship. So as far as that's concerned, there's upgrading, there's ammo purchasing. You can upgrade your ships. Doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of options as far as ship upgrades, but it's definitely enough to, carry you over you some time. So that I would say is a plus. And then as far as any storyline, there really isn't much of a storyline other than the base, plot that, hey, you're privateer or a smuggler during the American Civil War, you can, when you sail around the towns, kind of different than in these other games, you actually can move around the city when you go in there. So if you go into Havana, if you go into New Orleans, any of these towns, you can kind of go throughout the town. You can go to the shipyard where you can upgrade your ship or repair damage. You can go to, the merchant, obviously, where you purchase things that you're going to then sell in other towns. You can also go and meet with the governor where they'll assign you various missions, be it escorting a ship, intercepting and taking a ship, smuggling goods, transporting prisoners. There are multiple options there. You can buy personal weapons. You can get swords, cutlasses, rifles, pistols, and ammunition. And then you can trade kind of specialty goods. There's also a bank where you can get loans. I would say the game does seem kind of easy. I never really had the need to take a loan out. So that's one thing that definitely could be potentially considered a weak spot, as the game did seem pretty simple. In addition to that, you can go to a saloon where you can fight, hear rumors about different, what's trading at what price. So that's very similar to kind of the Port Royal or Pirates series. When you do engage in combat, you do so in a very easy, point and click kind of way, sail around. It's got a nice aspect where you aim just by kind of holding your mouse over the enemy ship, and you get kind of like a binocular view in, and then a target here. So it's actually pretty simple to shoot and fire, and I'd say that's a big plus, especially over some other games that I played recently. Seemed a lot more simple and maybe even a little bit prettier in some aspects than like the newer game Port Royal 3. If you crash into an enemy ship, then you board them and you fight. That aspect seems like it's lifted right out of Pirates, Sid Meier's Pirates, where essentially you're going to duel. First, you have to kind of get past a slew of enemy, men on the ship first, which is kind of unique. And then if you beat all of them, you get to the captain, where you have a sword fight essentially with them. You can use your pistols, rifles, shotguns, all of that in the engagement, so that's kind of a unique little thing. It's not a terribly deep combat system, but it is pretty simple. It's pretty fun. If you take the ship, you can loot it. You can also, just sink ships. There's a couple of different ammunition types. Like I said, there's Gatling guns, there's heavy artillery. You can get armored ships. You can fight armored ships. So there's a lot going on there. I would say, like I said, one of my criticisms is I'd like to see history kind of unfold, where, ports change hands and things like that. That really doesn't happen in this game, which is kind of, mildly annoying. The missions are nice, but there really seems no direction to it. There's no story. It's not like Pirates, where you're trying to find your long-lost family, or Port Royal, where you're trying to build up your wealth. I mean, obviously, you're trying to build up your wealth, but you can't really do anything with the money other than just buy more ships and weapons, which is fine for an arcade-style game. If you're looking for a deep, immersive story, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you're just looking for, a fun nautical-based game that's unique, covers an area that really these types of games haven't covered in the past, and is similar to Pirates and Port Royal, but like I said, with a nice little twist, it's definitely a unique little game worth picking up. It's under $10, and like I said, you can keep an eye on it on places like Gamersgate. Not sure if it's on Steam. I haven't taken a look. And get it at even a better price. It's definitely worth it in my opinion. I put quite a few hours into this, and it was quite a bit of fun. So, like I said, this was going to be a short review, pretty much short and to the point. Pretty simple game, pretty good game, enjoyable. So check it out. It's called Swashbucklers, again, Blue versus Gray. There are a few things I missed. In the review, you can fight in bars, you can kind of like wager, you can recruit crew, but yeah, anyway, that's going to do it for the review. If you liked it, go ahead and throw it on a like, subscribe. I am going to be having a review coming out very shortly on thewargamer.com, so check that out when it's out. I'll post a video of kind of a little preview thing, and I'll throw a link in there so you can get over there if that's something that interests you. But have a great night, and thank you for watching.